Hello, and welcome back to the Pale Beyond. When last we left off, the ship had become stuck in the ice, and Captain Hunt had disappeared. So with us as new captain, let's get going. So immediately we could take requests, but first things first, let's go and gather some resources. We need to make sure that we have all the resources we can, because, as I say, I suspect things are going to get very short on resources in the near future. With that done, let's go and take requests. Ooh, a lot of requests today. Sure, Templeton. Word back from the attempts at freeing the ship. Is such a report necessary? Well, as you can see, we're not moving. Crew kept at it for a week, but now we're calling it a day. A waste of time and resources then, as expected. I wouldn't be so sure. End of the day, at least now the crew can say they tried. Gave it their all. There's something in that. Good day, Captain. Well, as good as can be under the circumstances. Good day to you as well, Kasha. Well, I'll be sure to spare you any more obligatory small talk from here. In truth, there's something I've been meaning to ask of you. It's a matter I brought up with Captain Hunt, though he was less receptive. I'm not merely interested in the story of this expedition. I'm interested in the story of the people on this expedition. When the crew have the downtime, I would request that I be allowed to conduct interviews with them. I'd like to know more about them. Maybe learn more about what happened to Hunt. I see no issue there. Conduct an interview, as you please. Thank you, Captain. You won't regret it. I'll mark anything useful I discover in the crew manifest. Send them to the Red Room on the lower deck when you can. Word around the crew is that we might end up having to move to the ice. If we can't free the Temperance, anyway. Would be wise to gather what we want to take our ship with us if we do. Indeed, we'll need to prepare for what could be the inevitable. Aye. Most of the tools are in the lower deck storerooms. The metal doors need some work to open, but it's worth what's inside. Interesting. If there's more we can gather, that'd be good. Captain Shaw, Mr. Templeton. It would appear that some of the crew have taken an interest in the transmission radios we have on hand. It is likely many of their first times seeing this technology. And they have odd ideas of what they're capable of. They believe another ship may pick us up if we monitor them. Ridiculous. They do not have the range to pick up another. Not out here. I said as much, but Mr. Turner was adamant we spend the night monitoring them regardless. Even sent me to run the concept by you, Captain. I mean... So what's the payoff here? Presumably I can assign some people to this, and it'll gain some decorum, or I don't assign people, and it potentially loses some. I think we'll go for it anyway. Yeah, we can gain 18. Oh, I have to assign all 3 scientists. We'll still do it anyway, I think. It's worth the attempt, even if it's just to assure the crew. Yes, Captain. It won't work, but at least this way the crew will be certain. Ooh. Each crew member with the demoralization status effect will cause you to lose 5 decorum at the end of the week. Kasha may cure demoralization by interviewing them. Okay, so we'll need to send Mr. Gloss for an interview next week. Yes, otherwise they will ponder the alternative until we've all frozen. Alright. So, there was a little bit of loyalty interaction there. So, going ahead with the radio plan, lost loyalty with Templeton but gained some with Grimley. So Grimley's all about helping the crew, it seems. If we help the crew, Grimley will like us. But if we waste time on pointless things, Templeton will not. It's an interesting balancing act. The question persists as to how long the Temperance can hold. Will we be able to wait out the ice? If there is no change by next week, abandoning the ship may be considered. Alright. Ah, feel that air. Nothing better than a cold wind to keep you awake. You're an odd duck, Yorick the Third. How many hours of sleep do you get a night? Well, on second thought, better not hearing it. I already know it isn't enough. Okay. Let's start by heading to the lower decks and seeing what this equipment we can gather is. Oh, we've got a whole bunch of things. Food hold, weapons hold, science hold, tools hold, engineers hold. I guess let's just start with a food hold. Have to assign one person to get us in. Come on then, Tucker. You and Tucker charge into the room. It is full of food and ale. With the water flooding in from behind, you have time to grab one item. Ooh. A large unopened casket of 4 tinned Epperton rations, worth a total of 80 food. 3 kegs of ale, each of them can be used to cure 1 worker of demoralization. I feel like we should go for the rations, because if food's going to get short, having 80 food, which could cover 2-3 weeks maybe on half rations, I feel like that is the better choice. You rescue the tins of food. The room has flooded, rendering the rest of the items useless. Alright. Let's do the weapons hold. You and Tashi charge into the room. Inside you can see supplies of tinned lemons, a hunting shotgun, a bolt-action rifle, and some flares. With the water flooding in from behind, you have time to grab 2 items. Alright. 4 supplies of tinned lemons. Each of them can be used to cure 1 crew member of scurvy. An old-fashioned double-barreled buckshot rifle. Slow and cumbersome to load. A bolt-action rifle with poorly aligned sights. Ineffective against smaller targets. Bright light and heat without an explosion. For alerting humans and alarming wildlife. Can be carefully disassembled for fuel. Ooh. The only one that we actually get mechanical information on is the tinned lemons. But I plan to avoid scurvy anyway, so I don't think the lemons are a great choice. I'm assuming that the 2 guns will let us get more out of hunting. And since it seems that hunting's going to be a big part of this, I feel like taking the 2 guns is probably the best option. I think I'm just going to go for it. You rescue the shotgun and ample ammunition. There is enough time to grab 1 more item. You rescue the rifle and ample ammunition. The room has flooded, rendering the rest of the items useless. Alright. Let's get into the science hold. Okay, I want to keep as many scouts as I can for doing more scouting, so let's take the engineers. You and Dick charge into the room. The wooden floors and furniture have buckled enough to take apart easily. You also spot crates labelled as spare flags and luxury items. With the water flooding in from behind, you have time to grab 1. Much of this room has become buckled by the ice, allowing it to be easily stripped for timber, worth a total of 102 fuel. That's a lot of fuel. Flags from the Temperance are folded neatly inside. You also find a chessboard and a football. In total they will provide plus 20 maximum decorum. That's a interesting choice. The crate of luxury items would give us more flexibility, but I feel like just choosing raw resources must just be the better option. It's certainly the simpler option, so I'm going to take the timber. You gather the scrap wood from the damaged floors and furniture. The room has flooded, rendering the rest of the items useless. Alright, onto the tools hold. You and Grips charge into the room. It is full of various tools and a crate of tinned lemons. With the water flooding in from behind, you have time to grab 2 items. So once again, I don't think the lemons are an option I will go for. The doctor should be able to see more than one patient at a time with these. That could be very good. How about the digging tools? These should make quick work against pressure ridges and thick snow when hunting and scouting. Okay, so that makes hunting and scouting easier. With these tools, the furnace may be better maintained, improving its efficiency. Again, the only one of these 3 that we get mechanical information for is the medical tools. So we're gonna grab those. You rescue the doctor's equipment. There is enough time to grab 1 more item. Digging tools or engineering tools? I'm tempted to go for the engineering tools for better efficiency, but if I choose the digging tools which makes hunting easier, then gathering more resources, both fuel and food, might be better. So I'm going to choose the digging tools, I think. Because engineering tools affects the furnace, digging tools might affect food and the furnace. You rescue the digging tools. The room has flooded, rendering the rest of the items useless. Alright, one final room where we will have to use one of our scouts, but that's fine. You and Flick charge into the room. It is full of specialist tools and equipment. With the water flooding in from behind, you have time to grab 2 items. Okay, so again, the ale kegs I don't think are going to be that useful. So, we have digging and engineering tools again, along with Apperton crates. Apperton crates treated and sealed to keep shipments of peaches fresh. So that affects food. Oh, this is a choice. I think I'm going to take the digging tools again, on the hope that their effects can stack. Because again, this affects both food and fuel. As for the second item, I think I'm gonna go for the food. You rescue the Apperton crates, so our max food has increased and our food itself has increased by 20. That's good. The room has flooded, rendering the rest of the items useless. Okay. I suppose the next step is to call the crew for dinner. The crew have their meal. The dinner is shared. Oh, I still need to send out our scouts. Hopefully I can still do that. The crew return to their posts. The hammocks are unfurled in preparation for the evening. Despite the time, it is still bright light outside. Once again, a lot of conversations. Evening. Before we took off, Grimley and I stopped in a Greasy Spoon in the city. Their sausage and eggs was perfect. Best I've ever had. Now I'm trying to remember its damn name. It's left my head. I didn't take you for the sort to enjoy the city. Just the food, sure. People, well, not all of them are bad. It's getting harder to play. Cold makes the fingers stiff. Power through it, for the crew's sake. Aye, I will. Yeah, so the loyalty gain again there from Grimley suggests that, yeah, anything for the crew is a bonus for him. I'm interested in how my loyalty is rising. Okay, we're still a long way off with Grimley, but we have made significant progress. Templeton we've slipped a bit. Junior we're very close. Hammond we're quite close. Cordell we're still a long way off. Okay, we're doing alright loyalty-wise. Let's hope that we can get loyalty up with everyone by the end of this. You know, as far as rations go, this is good. Junior sure knows how to prepare dinner, doesn't he? He's too good for a ship like this. You're pretty old, aren't you? Good eye, lad. Better than mine. Why are you still working? You should be at home with your family. Don't have one. Do you not have any children? I might do. Don't know any, though. More of the same tonight. We'll have to get used to it. Not much you can do with the ice. We'll figure out something to do, won't we? We'll have to. Alright. Uh-huh. Anything? Afraid not. I didn't expect anything to come of it. Well, at least we can say we tried. That must be from the radio attempts. At the bow, you spot Kurt, measuring for any changes in the temperature. Still fast. No signs of any change. He notices you and gives a wave. Doubt we're moving anytime soon, Captain. Of course, sometimes you never know with the ice. You should get some rest. I'll let you know if anything changes. See that you get some rest yourself. I will. But we have to be alert. In my experience, changes come fast. Take care, Captain. Okay. So, for Kurt, it seems like it's a balance. Partway between staying optimistic and getting things done, but also making sure to take care of oneself. Let's see if we can send out more scouts still. Good, we can. So let's continue scouting a little bit. Emperor penguins, interesting. So, bigger penguins potentially means more food or fuel out of resources. Let's send out one more scouting mission. Fish. Okay. Well, we now have plenty of hunting spots found, which we can hopefully start to engage with a bit more. Templeton. Captain, a word. I felt now as good a time as any to review the wording in our contracts. You do remember what was written in your contracts? To be honest, I only skimmed the thing. I was already sold on the job. Well, I suggest you become more acquainted in the future. Consider Article 3, and I quote, "The member of the staff shall throughout the period of such expedition obey all commands of the captain, and shall use his best endeavours to promote the success of the same. And in the event of anything happening to the captain, shall obey all commands of any member of the staff, who shall be appointed by the captain in writing before his death. It being understood that the rest of the staff shall hold the same relations towards any member of the staff, so appointed as towards the captain. As appointed by the captain in writing before his death." What are you trying to say? The vote we held settled what is only a temporary arrangement in the eyes of the law. Even then, you only made it through by a hair. Unless you somehow managed to wrestle a written transfer of captaincy from Hunt before his departure, in the eyes of the law, you are simply acting in his stead, with no legal recourse to call upon. There is a chance Hunt and the deserters are still out there. Should we be reunited, your captaincy will indeed be called into question. That's problematic, because from all the setup of this, I get the sense that Hunt and the deserters are still out there, and that we will be coming across them again. Templeton, why are you so invested in the captaincy? I am invested in the survival of this mission, and providing appropriate guidance. You may presume an ulterior motive, but you know my reasoning is sound. Loyalty of the crew means everything. Get them on your side, Shaw. Keep them on your side. I see. Thank you for bringing this to my attention, Templeton. Remember my words, Shaw. I suggest you start with the Stoke brothers. It seems they speak for many of the sailors. Oh boy. So the loyalty is going to be a whole balancing act. At the very least, we are making progress with everyone. We've got Templeton just about back on side, which is good. But yeah, this is going to get interesting. In any case, let's head on to next week. Alright. Once again, I think fuel rations can be halved. Do I keep food rations at normal? I feel like I want to start trying to save food. I'm going to try doing half rations on food and check that sending someone malnourished to the doctor does cure them. So let's do this. I need to test the limits of the mechanic so that I can know exactly how much I can get away with. The dogs are rested and available to be sent out. Another week on the ice. The ship shan't hold much longer. Mr. Gloss is demoralized, -5 decorum. Gnomes has become malnourished. Okay. Week 6. 3 weeks at Temperance Camp. Okay. Let's begin once again with resource gathering. Although on the way, let's stop off and send gnomes to the doctor. We can now send 2 people at once to the doctor as well, which is good. We can get away with a little bit more there. Sit down. Let's go and grab some food. Uh-oh, that doesn't look good. 1 crate of spoiled rations. Right, I won't... Let's check that then. Crate of spoiled rations. Rusted sustenance prepared by the Epperton Tinning Company, soggily exhumed from the Temperance. So now if you put it in the food, it causes malnutrition anyway. So these are useless. Right. Okay. I won't assign anyone to that then. Let's head down to the coal bunker. Looks like the coal is still good, so I'll still assign people to gather coal. I guess let's go and chuck. Come down to the depths. Hi. Vigors. So do we. Oh, we can abandon ship. Let's throw the spoiled rations into the furnace. Just to get rid of them, so I don't accidentally use them. And I guess let's refuel the furnace while we're here. So the timber adds 17 to the furnace, so that's good. We have a lot of furnace supplies for now. Let's chuck a couple of them in. Oh yeah, Cash's Red Room is here, so... Anyone free for an interview and a portrait? Yes, so if we assign Mr. Gloss, his demoralization should be removed, which is good. +1 research? What does research do? Research. All documented findings during your expedition, including pages of Cash's reports. Research will be a measure of your expedition's success despite the circumstances. The work helps with decorum. So that's another way we can gain decorum. Send people for interviews. That is very good to know. Okay. So remaining options for the rest of our crew is mostly the hunting missions then. I suppose we'll take requests first. Oh, this looks important. I was going to say, we'll take requests first, and then we'll see where might be best to assign people. Because some requests sometimes need us to assign people. But what's this? Templeton, Kurt, Cordell, and Hammond stand inside. The beginnings of a meeting. Well, Captain, it's been 3 weeks. Kurt tells me there's still no change in the ice. None. At best, I can estimate what change we will see won't free the ship. I predict the Temperance is more likely to be crushed under the pressure of the ice. And how long will that take? A few weeks at most. Unfortunately, we may have to look at alternatives rather than waiting for the ice to break up. Are you certain it's a lost cause? You never know, but from what I've seen, I wouldn't take the chance. Oh dear. Leaving the Temperance and making camp on the ice is something we will have to consider. Aye. The longer we stay on this ship, the more fuel we're having to burn. Not to mention risking another boiler incident. Yes, that matter almost cost lives. Heating a smaller camp burns through much less oil. And without enough fuel to survive a winter, we're dead. Don't think I need to tell you that. I would not be quite so quick to pack up and move out just yet. And why is that? The ship is shelter. The ship is safety. Currently there are quite a few hunting opportunities presented to us. We will need to gather more food if we are to survive, and the ship provides a safe area to hunt from. Right. And most of the crew aren't ready to give up either. They're stubborn, just as any good crew should be. I would rather not play into stubbornness when lives are on the line. He has a point. Crew thinks we gave up too early. They'll resent the captain for it. Though we now have a serious bloody flooding problem. We do? Aye. You might have noticed if you'd left your damn forecastle. It is safer to take the time to gather what we need before we leave, rather than raid the ship once we make ice. Well, the answer lies with the captain. Should we move off the ship this week? Oh, that's a tough choice. Because I want to keep the crew on side, but if moving to the ice makes things more efficient, because Hammond said that we'll be burning less fuel if we move to the ice, I feel like moving to the ice is the best option. I think we should leave. We're moving on to the ice. Inform the crew. Very well. I will. It's time we left this forsaken ship. When we remove the boiler from the furnace, that is when we make our move. When you feel we're ready to go, just go to the boiler room and give the order. Alright. Let's take requests. Oh, a hell of a lot of them this time. Mr. Glass. Captain, we tried to use the radios to pick up any signals every evening for the past week. Nothing, I take it. Afraid not. As we expected. I have to say though, I expected a worse reaction from the sailors. I suppose there's a relief in trying a method and knowing it to be unsuccessful. Now they can move on to the next venture with little reservation. They are a resourceful people, I must say. Well, I suppose anything that puts the crew's mind at ease is worth doing. Thank you, Mr. Glossley. Yeah, I think anything we can do to keep decorum up means that we can push our resources further, and therefore is worth doing. Captain, my dogs appear to be struggling in the on-deck kennels. They require a more secure form of shelter from the environment. Dogloos, I believe they are called. Are we gonna build little igloos for these dogs? Because that's awesome. Yes, I will require some hands to work on constructing them. It is for the health and safety of the pack. I'll put some of the crew to work on it. Thank you. We must focus on keeping the dogs safe. Without them, the crew stands little chance of safety themselves. Yeah, I'm happy to do anything that helps the dogs, because hunting's going to be very important, so anything to help hunting is worth doing, I feel. Mast was damaged when the ship was being tossed a while back, Captain. Best get someone to fix it before the Temperance is freed. Freed? Aye. Ship could come loose any moment. Heading up to repair the mast is a dangerous task. We don't even know if the ship will sail if the ice clears. Would be worth it, though. Oh... I want to start using the hunting, and that means I need everyone available. So, much as it might hurt decorum, I don't think I'm gonna go for this one. Someone could get injured. I'd rather avoid that. Suit yourself, then. I was summoned by Mr. Templeton. Yes, Mr. Isaac. This is regarding your personal item. What do you mean? I felt it pertinent to let the captain know that you are carrying a weapon. Excuse me? Excuse me? Perhaps this is my unfamiliarity with expeditions, but I was surprised others did not bring an item to protect themselves. Many of the crew cannot afford such an item to themselves. Captain, it is up to you what to do with this revolver. He's got a revolver. With all due respect, this is my personal item, Captain. It is the captain's right to requisition any weapons on the ship. That includes your own. If I let someone be carrying around a gun, I feel like the rest of the crew are going to be very against that. And I'm not too keen on anyone of the crew having a gun either. I cannot allow a single person to hold on to a weapon. Hand over the revolver, Mr. Zack. That got us a lot of loyalty with Templeton, and gave us a revolver. Very well, Captain. I understand. We would do well to avoid creating an imbalance of power among the crew. I doubt the sailors would take too kindly to such a thing. Yeah, that's precisely what I said. Mr. Zack has now also become demoralized, so we'll just have to fix that next week. Sure. There's a rumor going around amongst the crew. They're saying the ship is haunted by the ghost of Captain Hunt. What ridiculous tripe. I thought you'd want to put a stop to it. I mean, yeah, I think... whilst it's all well and good the crew liking Captain Hunt, I don't want them talking about a ghost. So it might hurt decorum, but I think stopping that is for the best. Absolutely. We can't allow rumours like that to run rampant. Aye. Crew won't be best pleased you're stopping their stories. It is better than allowing fear and superstition to run wild. Aye. Alright. I feel like we're doing okay so far. Head to the boiler when you wish to abandon ship. I suggest we do so sooner rather than later. I agree. I think we're just gonna go and do that. I think... what's this for? Oh, that's constructing the dogloos on the ice. Okay. That feels a little out of sequence, because that feels like for when we set up camp already. Oh well. Let's send out hunting first. Let's start with the Emperor Penguins, because I feel like they'll give me the most. So I can assign up to 4 people. Cool. See, yeah, the hunting shotgun's giving us 1 extra Emperor Penguin from this. So that was a good choice. Let's assign as many people as we can. Tashi, Two Johns, Tucker, and Cavity are marked down to hunt for the week. While we're here, actually, I want to check. Can I get mechanical information? Aha, the digging tools. Reduces the dogs required by 1 on locations to a minimum of 3. Cool. Those were a good choice. Anything else? Yeah. So the hunting shotgun, +1 medium-sized animal killed at each hunting location. The revolver that we now have, +1 small animal killed at each hunting location. And the rifle, +1 large animal killed at each hunting location. So having these guns just means that, yeah, we will get more resources every time we hunt. And I think that's a very good idea. Fish or penguins? This one only costs 2 dogs, so I might as well do this one. I don't think I'm going to do any more scouting, so I'll send all the scouts and 1 engineer. Grips, Quilsley, Yorick III, and Flick are marked down to hunt for the week. And then we'll do 1 more. This will be the other engineer and 2 of the scientists. I don't have anyone else to send, but it'll do. Mr. Zack, Mrs. Gloss, and Dick are marked down to hunt for the week. Cool. So that'll give us our first set of hunting resources, so we'll see how well we're going to do off those. I will put a little bit more into the food pot, just to get us above 50 in case I think it's worth doing normal rations. Let's call the crew for dinner. The crew have their meal. The crew return to their posts. The hammocks are unfurled in preparation for the evening. Despite the time, it's still bright light outside. Aha. And I swear, when that hook came swinging, Captain Hunt had to pull me down. This was 5-6 years ago? I had no clue what I was doing. Both of us nearly lost an eye that day. Same expedition, Ward lost his arm. Half the time I don't think Hunt knew what he was doing either. I'm sure he did. He seemed a good captain. Yes, we have Junior's loyalty. Aye, he is. Served as well, no doubt. Did you need something? I wanted to commend you both for keeping spirits high. Well, it's still business as usual. I can still cook up a good meal. Nothing's changed there. Worried about the vote, aren't you? Oh, is that it? Sure. I don't care about that. I genuinely am checking in. Are you now? Alright, let's leave it at that, grimly. Nice of you to check in, sure. But I think it's time the crew called it a night. Grimly walks off. Is there an issue I'm not aware of? A word to the wise, Robin. I have nothing against you, but we sure don't know you, either. It's going to take more than simple pleasantries to earn Grimly's trust. Yeah, makes sense. You ever have pancakes? Sure. Served some for Captain Hunt once, and he started demanding them every time. Can only have them early into the trip, though. Ingredients don't keep that long. Hunt was fond of your cooking, wasn't he? He hired me. Would be odd if he wasn't. He didn't take me on as charity, sure. Hunt's not the type for that. Miss the water. Got used to playing on a rocking ship. Start to feel sick when I'm off for too long. I miss it myself. That sense of constant movement. Nothing else like it. Aye. You get it. Don't like stillness. Like feeling like I'm going somewhere. Okay. I'm really liking the characters so far. All of them feel different, but they're all also likable. Like, for as much as Grimly doesn't like me at the minute, or at least doesn't trust me, I want to earn Grimly's trust. Yeah, I'm enjoying this. I suppose let's get the boiler taken. Bloody cold, isn't it, Captain? Don't know how you spend your time away from the furnace. It would be even colder without your hard work, Hammond. Aye, I know. Alright. Let's abandon ship, I guess. I hope I'm making the right choice. The furnace is torn from the boiler. We're heading out then. Best tell the lads. We're moving out? Yes, Captain's orders. For now, we should focus on setting up a campsite on the ice. Leave the equipment hauling for later. No worries, I'll get them to work. We'll have a camp set up before you know it. Here we go. You're taking that with you? Aye. Can't go a day without it, can you? Oi, crew like the music. Fair enough. You better get to hauling them lifeboats next. They're a bit more important than an accordion. Aye, I know. Calm, Stanbury. We're simply moving to the ice. Yes, it's all very exciting. If the rest of you behave yourselves, you'll be treated to an extra helping of soup. Well, there we have it. The heart of the ship, ripped clean from her chest, but she still beats for the crew. How long were you waiting on that one? Well, because it was shite. No time for poetry. Captain, let's get this bloody furnace set up on the ice. Indeed, let's do it. Let's zoom out a bit. I really like the visuals in this game so far. What are you doing up there? Now's the last chance to get a shot like this. It isn't that dangerous? Don't worry, I've done it before. Don't tell the captain. Okay. There. Perfect. Farewell, Temperance. Captain, I hope your new lodgings are to your comfort. If not, I'm afraid you'll have to power through until rescue. We say goodbye to the Temperance, but our work is far from over. And what is our next order of business? You've done well to already strip the lower decks off the ship. Perhaps the wildlife should be our next focus. Regardless, we need our wits about us. We stand alone against the ice now. Alright, we have our camp. Let's get familiarized. So the food and furnace are over here. That is the request tent. What else do we have? Casher and the doctor are now together. The dogs are kept over here with Cordell. Brimley's carpentry stuff is over here. We have the little scouting tower, and what I'm guessing is crew quarters at the top. Alright, let's just work from the left and go through all of these. It seems you no longer need to find a path through the ice. Aye. Now our focus is finding a safe path to land. No rescue ship will find us out here, nor will this ice hold for the full year. Make it so, then. Captain, if you find yourself stricken with boredom, I do have a book I would recommend. A textbook on different classes of wildflowers. The topic is more interesting than it may seem, I assure you. I would enjoy that, Templeton. I will be sure to bring it to you when I have the chance, then. I'm gonna call it a night. See you for breakfast. Can't turn to the furnace if I'm nabbing to you. Night. What do you have in your pocket? What does it matter to you? Hunched over, clutching something. It's suspicious. I'm holding an egg. An egg? Why? Keep my hands warm. Boiled egg keeps heat. That is actually rather ingenious. We know the cold better than you lot, anyway. Alright. It's nice to see the different parts of the crew starting to come together and get on with each other. I tried to separate my developing equipment from your tools as best I could while setting up. We wouldn't want for any of them to be mixed up, would we? It's quite alright. I hope my work doesn't distract from your own. We'll just have to make do. I suppose if tent space is the chief of our worries, we should consider ourselves lucky, right? Yes, I suppose so. Is something wrong? You just seem awfully young for this role. Well, I am. I'll take that to mean you're an overachiever for your age. Interesting. Good evening, Captain. I was growing used to sleeping on a moving ship before we became trapped in the ice, you know. Now I think I won't have a good night's sleep until we return to land. I think that's something we can all look forward to. A good motivation, then. I know a hot bath and a warm bed are the first order of business when we return to land. I may stay bundled up for several days. Truly savour it. That's fair. Good evening, Captain. Was there something you needed? If you need the latest medical report, I'll have it prepared soon. Good to see you aren't losing your focus. Keep it up, Nutley. Oh, thank you, Captain. I'll try. I'm getting the sense that our doctor is somewhat inexperienced, but I mean, he clearly can do a good job. He's healing people up well enough, so I feel like encouragement is probably the best for our doctor at the minute. Let's listen to Cordell. My dogs have been restless all evening. The move to the ice has proven overstimulating. They will settle down eventually. It was good to hear that Jim recovered from their wounds. The incident with the boiler was rather dire. If nothing else, we can take solace in avoiding a life being lost. Agreed. He stares at you before nodding to his sleeping bag. Okay. Evening, Shaw. I've been thinking about our pay once we return to land lately. Don't mistake me for the avaricious sort, but I do have expenses to pay. Before we departed, I received a letter from one of my daughters asking to cover the cost of her stage school. It would be a shame to promise a luxury only to retract it, don't you think? I wasn't aware you had a daughter, Gert. Two, in fact. Both with the first wife. Interesting. I like that we're learning more about the crew as well. Sometimes in this kind of game, the crew becomes a second thought to the resources and the mechanics, but in this game the crew really is a focus point, which I like. Well, all our crew are assigned, and I've spoken to everyone, so time to head to the next week. Given that the malnourishment just required one crew being taken aside, I think it is worth saving 25 food for the sake of one person being in the doctor's hut. Half rations also doesn't incur anything, though we will have to start being careful with our decorum. But I think half rations is still for the best at the minute. Tashi, Tujuns, Tucker, and Cavity return from hunting with 5 Emperor penguins. Grips, Quilsley, Yorick III, and Flick return from hunting with 5 Adelie penguins. Mr. Zack, Mrs. Gloss, and Dick return from hunting with 4 Adelie penguins. The dogs are rested and available to be sent out. Another week on the ice, naked in the wind. Gnomes was cured of their malnourishment. Mr. Gloss raised their spirits, speaking to Kesha, no longer demoralized. Mr. Zack is demoralized, -5 decorum. Yorick III has become malnourished. All in all, not too bad. Week 7. 4 weeks at Temperance Camp. So, let's start by... I feel like we're going to start getting into a routine. So at the week start, we make sure that our unhealthy crew is made healthy. So, we will send Yorick to the doctor, and we will send Mr. Zack to Kesha to cure the demoralization, which also gains research, which is good. They join the photographer. Then it is just a case of considering what else needs doing. So, we're going to need resources and we need to take requests. Let's begin with the requests, see if any of those require crew, and then we will assign our crew elsewhere. Captain, Temperance's life is short, poor in luck. Some good fortune? The lower decks are flooding quick, but that's fine. The coal is still usable. We should grab as much as we can before she goes under. Agreed. We must gather as much as possible coal for the furnace. Aye, best get to it. Yeah, glad I took requests. If we can still gather coal, that's probably the best furnace resource we can get. Sure. Put a stop to those rumours going on about Hunt. That's simple. The sailors do seem to listen to you. Aye, you'll not be hearing them whispers again. That's good. Alright. Captain, I would find it wise to have a word with the journalist among our crew. For whatever reason, Hunt allowed for a photographer with no sailing experience to tail alongside this expedition. As it stands, Kesha Belford's record is what will stand the test of time when this expedition is spoken of, and it would seem she has not made allies of the crew. Kesha? She doesn't seem the type to make enemies. Not with purpose or malice, Captain. The sailors of this crew are a private lot. They do not take kindly to the prying eyes of a landlubber, as they would say. Remember, Captain, she controls the story. She controls your story. Best to have a word. Alright. Remember, Shaw, reputation can be fragile. You do not need an unflattering image at a time like this. Alright. First and foremost, we are going to grab everything we can off this ship. Because if it's going to break and go under, we want to have made the most of it. Fucking hell. What's it this time, Tucker? These bloody cigs aren't worth the shit I stepped in. You're the only man I know who can step in shit on the ice, mate. Ha. Bloody right. Ooh, very ominous sounds in the ship now. What's this? Oh, we can get more timber out of these as well. Okay, everyone's stripping the ship today. Let's just get people gathering as much as we can. The food was all spoiled, so I'm not going to go and grab that. But we can head to the coal bunker and grab more. Our scientists generally need to do stuff all together, so we'll send one of them. Alright. Let's head up. So, we've grabbed all we can off the ship. We have 5 people left. Let's do some scouting first. More emperor penguins, that's good. More fish. That's a point, I should check how much these resources can do. Emperor penguins. Ooh, that's less than I hoped for. +6 to the furnace or +9 to the hoosh. And Adelie penguins are even worse, +3 and +6. Oh dear. Okay, hunting is going to be really important. I suppose, though, let's build these little dog igloos so that we are... Because if they help hunting, then we need to do that. Cordell shows the crew how to assemble the snowy shelters. Alright. Let's go pet the ducks. Yeah. Okay. All the crew are assigned, so the only things left that we can do today are fill up resources and listen to any more conversations. So. When was the last time you slept, Chief? I got a good couple hours in a while back. A couple? You're going to work yourself to death before we even make land. Heard that before. But it hasn't bloody happened yet. Back to work. Man, Hammond is a machine, and it's just as well. I suppose, while we still have them, we should just make use of our tin food, especially if rations can spoil. Does that mean rations in my inventory can spoil? I hope not. Let's feed up the food, and let's put a little bit more in the furnace as well. Because we might as well just fill stuff up. Alright. Everyone's assigned, everything is done, so let's call the crew for dinner. The crew have their meal. The crew return to their posts. Despite the time, it's still bright light outside. Once again, a lot of conversations. As you pass by, you see Kasha adjusting her camera as she stands, partially obscured as she finds the right angle for shots. As you step to her side, she raises her head and looks to you. Why don't you join the camp proper? I'm trying to get a proper angle, of course. Something that really captures Kurt's height and personality. I suppose a close-up would be best, but never mind that. Intimidated? Of course not. Why would I be intimidated? Is it really that obvious? It's simply that I followed Kurt's expeditions a lot as a child, so seeing him in person is odd. Is he shorter than you expected? Kasha lets out a small laugh. He's taller, actually. It's more that up until now he's been an idea? Does that make any sense? Kurt is just another person, like you or I. I suppose so. Well, I'll leave you be. I'm still looking for the right shot. That's fair. I suppose that idea of people you look up to are just an idea until you actually meet them. It is one that makes sense. A crew member approaches you during dinner. Captain, you look like you could use some more to eat. Taking up the responsibility of captain is as admirable as it is unenviable. Please, help yourself to some of my own rations. Frankly, I'm stuffed. I have a feeling that if I accepted that, the crew would hate me, because, I don't know, this feels like just an attempt to kind of cozy up to me as the captain. Thank you, but there's no need. Oh well. The offer is always there. Yorick III returns to their seated position, as others in the crew look at them with annoyed expressions. Exactly. It would appear their attempts at gratifying command was unsuccessful. You get your photo snapped by the photographer too? Aye. She's a landlubber for sure. Treating us like we're some novelty. I don't have much problem with it. Good conversation, at least. I'd rather less good conversation out here. Yeah, people aren't liking the intrusion of Kasha. And there I was, face to face with a leopard seal. Dangerous creatures cannot be mistaken for your average seal. Natural hunters, much faster on land than you'd expect. How do you deal with that then? I was lucky I had my hunting shotgun at the ready. That feels like foreshadowing. So if we see a leopard seal at any point, a hunting shotgun is a good choice. We were feasting on leopard seal that night. Of course, all the times the crew weren't filming. Ah, pull the other one. It's true. This other time we... Kurt continues to ramble on. It seems he will be at this for a while. You ever get the feeling you're being watched? Sure. Couldn't shake the feeling there was a pair of eyes on me while I was working there. Yes, I'm sure there's a terrible, undiscovered beast lurking in the mist. You're bloody funny, aren't you, Captain? I'm not the superstitious sort, believe me. Good to see you don't hide away from the crew in the evenings, sure. Didn't know what to make of you, at first. I'd like to know more about my crew. Your crew. Suppose it's best for you to get comfortable. Ooh, that's true. This is still Hunt's crew, it is by no means my crew. Oh well. Good evening, Captain. Will this take long? The dogs are fed and rested, however, I dislike leaving them alone. You've trained them well. There won't be any issue. That would be my hope, but you can never be certain. Been trying to come up with a new song. Something about seals, I'm thinking. Hard to think, though. Winds are too distracting. I haven't had a new song in a while. Anything but seals. Come up with something away from the ice. Hard to do. We sing what we know, sure. Don't care much for escaping into fantasy. I suppose that's fair. It's rather morbid, sure, but our last conversation had me wondering about those children of mine. Specifically, I wondered on whether I'd ever see them again. It's not something you should imagine, I know, but that threat always exists on these expeditions. I signed on knowing that. Are you close with your children? Not to all, and not as close as I should be. Even the youngest is grown now, sure. My time to be a parent came and went. I chose the ice. That photographer, Belford. What about her? Did she come snooping around your tent as well? Aye. I caught her prying a couple of times. I can guess. She found nothing on you? No, she did not. We could all learn something from you, Tashi. Yeah, conflict between Kasha and the crew might get complicated. Evening, Captain. Have you been reading that textbook? I understand if you do not have the free time. I think I would have been reading it. I have been reading. It's quite the interesting topic. Good. I had hoped you would enjoy it. I suppose the topic does provide an escape from the ice as well. Alright, we have spoken with everyone, so we will end this week and then leave off this episode here. Ooh, so now half fuel rations has negative repercussions as well. And decorum is already quite low. Okay, I think because decorum is low, we're going to do normal rations to try and get some decorum back before we then tank decorum again. The dogs arrested and available to be sent out. Another week on the ice. Yorick III was cured of their malnourishment. Mr. Zack raised their spirits, speaking to Kesha, no longer demoralized. That's good. We're going into a week with all crew healthy, so we can try and get as much done as possible. Week 8. 5 weeks at Temperance Camp. So, thank you once again for joining me on this episode. We will come back next time when we start to learn how to survive on the ice, away from the safety of the Temperance.